Okay, there we go. Welcome to the Alpha Beta Chi chapter annual business meeting. This is our second annual business meeting. This is the agenda. We've already done the reflection and introduction, which we're going to jump into our strategic plan from this year and reflect upon our accomplishments and then get updates on membership, budget, communications activities, and then go in to introduce our new leadership team and plans for the year ahead. And at the end, we'll have an open forum for suggestions and ideas from all of you. So I wanted to start off saying thank you. Like personally for me, I was appointed to the president role before we became a chapter when we were part of Mu Theta at Large chapter with St. Peter's and St. Elizabeth. And for a while we were talking about with Dean Myhall that it would be great if we could separate into our own chapter because we were so large, and then have a little more control over our activities, like how we hold the induction, for example. So it was quite a bit of work to get to that place to be able to separate. And I am thankful to the leadership team for believing in me to take on this important role for the new chapter. And we became, like, I'm trying to use an analogy here, like instead of a necklace with a strand of three, Mu Theta being Felician, St. Elizabeth, and St. Peter's, to now our own strand, our own necklace. And so we can wear our necklace and have it shine on our own chapter shining, and create beads and create more decorations on our necklace as we go along. And so now I think we're finally a necklace now. And so as we move forward, we can become more of a beautiful necklace. And I'm so thankful to all of you. I think, one of the reasons we were so successful as a new chapter is because of all the engagement and excitement from all of you. So I'm so grateful to have worked with you. When I left Felician, it was hard. I had been at Felician almost 10 years. So being able to continue to be engaged with you all through the chapter was great for me. So thank you to you all. And jumping in now to our strategic plan, starting with our mission. Our mission is to develop nurse leaders at Felician University School of Nursing and its healthcare community. So the mission we wrote was kind of analogous to the overall International Sigma mission, but specific to Felician. And we wanted to promote the scholarship and leadership of Felician students and its nursing community, promote participation and engagement of all chapter members in chapter activities, ensure fiscal viability and growth of the chapter. And then most recently, based on feedback from a member survey from last year, we added a mission element to engage in health advocacy activities. And we're grounded in our values of scholarship, service, dignity, ethics, and respect, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and connectedness and solidarity. So we had a very intentional strategy. I think hopefully all strategy is intentional for last year. Again, based on our member survey, we added a fourth pillar to our strategic plan. We really wanted to boost our nurse leader recruitment. And so one of the things that we did is we marketed specifically through our nurse educator director contacts through our clinical affiliates to try to get the nurses out in the community to be aware that we have a chapter and to become included and interested. And then we also took a look at trying to be creative. Our graduate student body, like our nurse practitioner students, people who maybe just missed the borderline to become invited to become inducted, but we're already, really a student in great standing and a nurse leader already, to invite them to become a nurse leader. And so that was another strategy that we used. We also boosted acceptance rates as our hybrid ABSN program is based out in Parsippany, and we really wanted to make sure that program was included and boost acceptance specifically in that group. So we appointed Dr. Kimberly Burrows as our membership ambassador. And we really wanted to boost renewal. So we sent out timely email reminders. So a lot of this stuff we kind of added in this past year. And then we're really striving towards our first key award, even though we're a new chapter. This is the end of the first biennium for our chapter. And we thought we could do this. We took a look at the different categories and points that are allotted to other criteria, and we thought we really could do this. We didn't want our goal to be to get a key award, but really a goal to be getting the key award is going to help our chapter, because the elements of the key award are designed really beautifully to help grow our chapter. So for example, we launched a volunteer program that was to get key award points, but it was a great thing to share out volunteer opportunities. And then a leadership internship program, which we launched, and then we were able to get a student involved and also onto as one of our officers, which is awesome. We also created some new videos to both recruit and to orient over this past year, which helped us towards our key award. So, oops, that thumb isn't supposed to be there yet. Just ignore that thumb. So taking a look at our strategic plan from 24 to 25, this is how we fared. So under the pillar of scholarship and leadership, we did hold one webinar on health advocacy. So Sigma has a program called Rising Stars of Scholarship and Research. And in that program, you can work with your School of Nursing and nominate students to present at various events. So CHEWI is one of them, Sigma's Creating Healthy Work Environments event. And then I think the international event over the summer, the International Congress is the other one. So at two different points, chapter leaders receive an email inviting them to nominate, along with their nursing school, rising stars for this. And what that does is it enables them to be automatically accepted to present. And that's a huge opportunity, but then the challenge is funding them. And we were able to cover their registration. Like last year we did this and we sent 2 students to Washington, D.C. and we covered their registration and gave them a travel stipend. But the challenge this past year was it was too far. Like CHEWI was in Phoenix, and the students we had in mind and approached to nominate them were not able to fund their travel the rest of the way. So we're really hoping that will change going forward with the budget and with also the location, and hopefully coming back to the East Coast for the next event next year so we can participate. We did, as I mentioned, launch a leadership intern program. And we also issued awards, our scholarship award, membership award, and chapter leader award. And as far as the pillar of engagement, oops, I'm missing some thumbs here. We have a communication plan that we documented to kind of memorialize how we go about communication. So we followed that plan, and we did what we could to promote our chapter visibility, like on our social media, and even working with our marketing at Felician to write articles and press releases about our work. And we did, as I also mentioned, created a new member and new leadership orientation video and new ways to orient our members. For fiscal strength, we did hold an election each year. We didn't quite meet the goals that we had for the number of members we inducted, but we were very close. We were just under that. And we exceeded 2 nurse leaders. We did induct 4 this past year, so that was great. So there's a thumbs up and a thumbs down there. The membership campaign, we did launch a social media membership campaign where it was like a countdown to induction, and we tried to every 15 days remind inductees to accept, or nominees rather, to accept their membership. We did run a small fundraising campaign to sell our chapter gear, so we can look forward to, I think, more fundraising in the future. For the pillar of health advocacy, we did launch a health advocacy initiative. It's called the Nurses Climate Challenge for Sigma chapters. And Michelle Gilbert and I were behind that initiative. And that's actually beyond just our chapter. It's across all of Sigma, getting chapters to sign on to that. And we led that along with 3 other nurse Sigma leaders, we're all on the East Coast, but in different chapters, to get chapters to work with their schools of nursing and work with their membership to raise awareness about climate and health. And we have 20 chapters signed on so far, so that's great. And that's why we held one webinar on that topic to kind of raise awareness of this initiative. We held a charity walk in October, and we've been doing that every October. We held a blood drive and a national marrow donation program registry event, a coat drive. And we did support members and participation of the Global Advocacy Academy, and again launched a volunteer program. We did not hold a United Nations visit. We did that our first year, but we didn't have the funding, particularly for the transportation for this year. So, all in all, more green than purple here. So that's good. And I think that we can continue to strive, even if we don't meet all of the targets. At least we're moving forward and looking to grow as much as we can with what we're doing. And there's a little key award up there because we did meet the number of points as far as our estimation and our interpretation of the criteria. We needed 80 points to get the key award, and we have 83. So we're going to submit that application and have Sigma International review and determine whether they agree with our how we allocated the points. I'm going to hand it over to Amy Giordano to go over our membership, our faculty counselor.
Okay, so membership for when we first started our ABC chapter, our numbers obviously were a little bit higher. We had a lot of transfers from individuals that, are connections through the university, clinical staff, graduates that came in and transferred from their previous or have dual membership, which was great. So we had 53 in 2023 when we first started. We had 53 members, and then we had 8 nurse leaders that we inducted with 22 transfers. In 2024, we had about the same amount of students, which at 52, less nurse leaders at 1, and then we had about half the amount of transfers, which was 11. 2025, we had a little bit of a dip in the amount of students that were inducted. Our class load, at least for traditional, was our students this cohort was a little smaller than previous years. We did do some more engagement in November. Me and a few of the other ABC chapter members, we met with the SNA and we went over kind of what our chapter was all about. It was well received. We did send out definitely more communication and more reminders with the 2025 group in the hopes that we would get our numbers a little bit closer to the previous 2 years. But we had 39 students that were inducted this past April, 4 nurse leaders and 6 transfers for membership. As of today, we have a total of 91 members.
Thank you, Amy. And I'm not sure, did Trish join yet?
I
don't know if you want...
Guys, I'm so sorry. I lost internet like for 3 or 4 hours in my house, and it literally just came back on. So my apologies.
Oh, no problem. I didn't know if you wanted to present the slide. If not, I can present either way.
No, if you could. I'm a little discombobulated now with no internet for the last couple of hours. So I appreciate it, Daria.
No problem. And thank you to Trish, Dr. Muno for filling in as interim treasurer this past year. She was also in the role of vice president since Eric Wignall had stepped into the president-elect position from the vice president. So we're all kind of a little bit of shifting there. So appreciate everybody working hard this past year. So taking a look at our budget. And so again, 2023 was our first year as a chapter. And so we had some initial expenses in 2023 that we didn't incur thereafter, just like, for example, getting a step repeat sign that we love, buying a whole lot of cords, which we kind of invested in the beginning that lasted through that year and the next year. So some of those costs didn't repeat, but what we found is that looking at the induction costs, which was, it varied because sometimes we had like some assistance from Felicia in some different ways, but in 2024, our induction costs were $483.50. And this past year it was $811. And so for things like the flowers, renting tablecloths, things like that. So we do keep the cost very low. But then when you think about the stipends we give, somewhere around the order of 2,000 for awards, stipend scholarships. We have to make sure that that's balanced by our chapter dues, right? Our incoming dues, which are growing because our membership is growing, but we also have attrition. So long story short, we're kind of just covering, if you just look at our dues, it's kind of just covering our expenses with regard to the annual things, induction, scholarship awards. And what isn't accounted for as well is our convention. So the biannual convention, we do need to send somebody to every other year when it happens. And that is a higher cost item, of course. So we do need to think, and we can open this up in the forum for ideas, but more ideas for fundraising to make sure we are fiscally viable. And we've been careful, really careful about our spending these first 2 years because of this. Because if we continued at this rate, less than the count of the fingers on one hand, we would be out of money. So we really have to think carefully about the long term, the future of the chapter, and I mean, we will reasonably get more chapter dues each year as we grow the membership as well. But just to keep that in mind, so the balance in June 2024 was $12,190.50. The balance June 2025, very similar, right? But projecting out the balance for June 2026 is 9,500, again, because we're paying that biannual convention coverage. So things to consider that are unknowns are the total number of chapter dues. We get approximately $20 multiplied by the number of members, because the rest of that's going to the international. And then what also varies is our precise induction fees, the awards and stipends that we give, etc. So I believe what a good aim to at least go for is to bring in at least 4,500 a year to break even. So I think it'd be good to really think of more other revenue streams to kind of support the chapter's growth going forward. And I will hand it over to Secretary Michelle Gilbert for this slide on communications.
Yes, we held monthly board meetings, so more like every 3 weeks. We were very consistent with that. Minutes were posted for member access in the Sigma Circle library. Volunteers opportunities was also posted through Sigma Volunteer Portal. We also made sure to update members via chapter webpage on the Sigma website, chapter webpage on the Sigma Circle, via email and newsletters. We use Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube to connect with the members. And we also sell chapter merchandise in partnership with Scrubbin.
Great, thank you, Michelle. And one of the things we try to do is hold the board meetings at a time when we can really, one of the important things is to make sure that our chapter leadership is diverse in terms of multiple things, but one of the things being like trying to get some people from our community, our clinical partners, out into our board meetings. So being able to hold them in the evenings as we did has been able to facilitate that. Really being, this is a voluntary job, right? All of us are volunteers. We're not getting paid for this role, so we have to be respectful that other people have full-time roles, and trying to create some sort of happy medium where we can all participate in the evening. So that's what we did. So looking at our activities, we had some new things that we did this past year. I mentioned the Nurses Climate Challenge for Sigma chapters and the volunteer program and leadership intern program. And we also had several service activities that we repeated from the previous year as well. Charity walk, it was what was the name of that walk we did this past year? It was for mental health.
Suicide Prevention.
Suicide Prevention Foundation, yeah, right. And so that was fantastic. And we had students as well as faculty and all members there, or different types of members. We had partnered the last few years also with the Student Nurses Association to try to advertise the toy drive and get more Alpha Beta Chi members involved. And then there's the blood drive that's held with the Felician Center for Health, and we partnered in the same kind of time and place we held our national marrow donation program. And in this past year, we also collected coats at the same time. And as far as collaborations, we had several to mention. The New Jersey Consortium of Sigma Chapters, they have an annual event that they have like a Founders Day event. In fact, they just announced when it is for this year. Let me see if I have that handy.
October 25th.
Oh, I have October 5th. Sunday, October 5th.
Or maybe I had that wrong.
Oh.
Yep, October 5th. Haha.
Okay.
October 5th.
So all members are invited to attend that, and it's a great way to network, with people just from our area, from New Jersey. So that, and there's opportunities for nominating people for awards and that sort of thing. So that is happening in October. Again, and we did this last year. And actually, Eric and I were involved in, Eric was on photo patrol, on taking photos, and I was helping check people in, so that was great. We also collaborate with the Region 14 of Sigma, so our chapter is part of Region 14, and they held the first in-person event since the pandemic, so that was really exciting, and that was held in the Bronx. And I was able to attend in person with our leadership intern, Stanley Damius, who is shown in the photo here. He had an opportunity to meet President Bibb, the president of all of Sigma International, who happened to be there to do a keynote presentation, and she was so gracious and friendly, and you could see they're shaking his hand, and even presented him with a special coin. He was the only one there who was a student, so he represented us very well and is even able to speak up when a topic came up about new grads. So that was great. And Eric Wignall also participated virtually, and I think they plan to do it that way again next year, where there's a virtual and in-person opportunity wherever it's being held in spring next year. We do partner with the Student Nurses Association, and it's been great that our faculty who have been involved each year with that have also been in our chapter leadership to create that connection, and those students who are really active in that organization are great, like Stanley, to bring in to Alpha Beta Chi and to get involved with Alpha Beta Chi, maybe future leadership interns, because we want more Stanleys, right? We need more Stanleys going forward. The National Marrow Donation Program, we've already met with them twice, thanks to Dr. Marissa Cruz for creating that partnership and getting the training done and what we need to facilitate that registry event. The Felician Center for Health, we've partnered again when they hold the blood drives to work with them on that. And our partner Scrubbin has created gear with the Sigma Alpha Beta Chi logo, where we can purchase, and a part of that does go back in revenue to the chapter. And then we've partnered with Mu Theta at Large chapter, who we used to be a part of. They invited me to present as a keynote for their induction, and we have been inviting them to our induction and back and forth, and we try to share, like they shared their leadership intern program write-up with us and that sort of thing. So it's been a nice relationship that we're holding. And I'm going to hand it over to Mary Claire Smith to do our leadership succession slides.
Thanks, Daria. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining today. I want to take just a few moments to review our leadership structure and the results of our recent election. So first, we had some appointments back in fall of 2024. Dr. Patricia Muno assumed the role of Vice President. Dr. Kim Burrows joined as Membership Ambassador, and Yulia Markiv, Professor Markiv, joined as our social media person, and Dr. Kathy Jennings joined us as a governance committee member back in the fall. And I also want to review the results of our ballot. So if we can just get to the next slide, I'll go over that. Of course, our Honor Society operates with a structured leadership team designed to support our mission and guide us through the academic year. Each role plays a really essential part in the success of our chapter. As you know, our leadership ballot opened in April and closed in May of this year. I want to thank everyone who took the time to participate and vote. It's your participation that makes our chapter so strong. And so now I want to introduce the rest of the leadership team for the coming year and introduce those who will join us, join our appointed board members. So I know he's introduced himself, but Professor Eric Wignall will serve as our president over the next 2 years. And the results of our spring election are that Dr. Michelle Gilbert will serve as treasurer. Dr. Marissa Cruz will serve as secretary. Our governance chair is now alumnus Stanley Damia. Our membership ambassador is Dr. Kimberly Burrows. Our new faculty counselor is Dr. Christine Lawrence. Our leadership succession chair is Dr. Janice Rama. And our 2 new leadership succession committee members are Dr. Helena Carrera and Dr. Wendy Watson. So we welcome our new ABC Sigma board members and thank everyone for their participation in our election.
Thank you, and congratulations to the new ABC Sigma board.
Yep, congratulations and welcome.
And I just want to say a few words about Eric. I'm so proud of Eric. He is one of our shining stars, our own Felician alum, and he has accomplished so much since graduating. And I think we've all really enjoyed working with you over the last few years as one of our inaugural leadership team members, and we're so happy to see you rise up to the presidential role. And so I'm really looking forward to the future for the chapter. Hopefully now that we have kind of the foundation built, you know, the scholarship programs, how we're going to communicate, a bank account, you know, there's all these basic stuff down and the groundwork down. Now we can really be creative and fly and do what we want to do as a chapter. So with that, I will hand it over to Eric.
And Dory, before you do, just want to say thank you so much for all that you've done as our president. It's been wonderful to have you at the helm, and we appreciate your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And to you as well, because the 2 of us, Mary Claire and I, are not returning to the leadership team. And so I know that you have a long record of service with both Mu Theta at large and Alpha Beta Chi in leadership succession. So thank you so much for everything you've done.
Of course, thank you.
I thank both of y'all, and we will miss you both for all the work that you've done and how you've been encouraging and making sure that everything that needs to happen happens. We appreciate you and thank you.
Well, thank you,
Eric. Oh.
Well, thank you, Daria, for those very kind words. I greatly appreciate it. I'd like to return the compliment. Thank you for all you have done. We would not be sitting here having this board meeting if it wasn't for you and all of the time and energy you put in to make sure that Alpha Beta Chi actually came to fruition. I know it was not an easy project. There was a lot of back and forth with Sigma, the bank, everybody, Mu Theta. So I know that there was a lot of moving parts that you so graciously put together and so seamlessly. And so I have very big shoes to fill, but I know I can lean on you for support. And so I look forward to moving into this role and working with Daria on the side. I also want to thank all of our previous board members. I really think we have accomplished so much in just 2 short years. When I spoke with Amita, who is our Regional 14 director, I informed her that we were going to submit for a key award, and she was very, very impressed because very often a new Sigma chapter is still trying to figure out how to be a chapter, that they oftentimes do not have an opportunity to submit. And I think for us to have the opportunity to submit for our first key award ever as a chapter, I think that speaks volumes to Daria and all of us and our leadership and our commitment to the students to really make Sigma something. As Daria said, I am an alum of Felician. Loved it so much, I did my bachelor's and my master's there. But I really feel a sense of pride of being part of not only Sigma, but also being able to help the Felician students. I know the students at Felician, it's a unique situation. Many first-time students, first in their family. I know a wide range of socioeconomic backgrounds, and so I'm really proud of what we do to help our students succeed, both in the classroom and financially. And so I really think it's been a great opportunity these last 2 years. And so I do look forward to serving as the president and working with the team. It does certainly take a village. So I am looking forward to working with all of the new members, our newest members, and people that have moved into new roles. And so just wanted to thank everyone while I had the opportunity. So with that, so that we can all get to dinner at a reasonable hour, I'd like to just kind of review. This is not a full strategic plan. I think when we hold our first meeting after summer break, we can obviously add to this. This is not set in stone, but there were some things that I did want to consider for the 2025-2026. So I know that, as Daria mentioned, we were unable to send anyone to the Rising Star or to the Chewy conference due to the location. I would really like to try to see that we can get 2 students to return to that, as Daria mentioned, being on the East Coast. I know that our students that presented down in DC, they had an amazing time. They really enjoyed themselves. We had a BSN and a DNP student that both presented. They said it was a wonderful opportunity, so I'd love to be able to offer that to students in the fall school year. Definitely would like to continue to identify Felician students for the Leadership Intern Program. I think even on the first go around, we really were very lucky. Stanley was really an excellent candidate. And from the get-go, when I started with this chapter and being involved, one of the things that I had even said in early meetings is I really want to get the students involved and have them part of this, because that's how we're going to continue to build this chapter. And I think having someone like Stanley is a great opportunity for a student to see, oh wow, he succeeded, he's involved, and now he is a board member. So kind of really accomplished what I was hoping. So this internship program, I definitely would like us to really work on identifying students for the fall and the spring term. What we can consider is having a 6-month cycle, so that we can have maybe a student from the fall and then a student from the spring. And it certainly looks great on our resume. So certainly in a good leadership opportunity. To kind of go back to our values as both Felician University and to Alpha Beta Chi, I would really like to see that we continue our awards. There's nothing more exciting than when I send the letters to the 2 students who received the scholarship and just the joy that they write back to me. And so I would really like to make sure that we continue those scholarships, the membership, and the chapter leaders awards. We are going into our biennium. So for anyone that isn't aware, Sigma holds a biennium every odd year. and the location changes. So this year, it'll be in Sigma's home state and city of Indianapolis, Indiana. And then in 2027, it'll be at another location. And so that's how every 2 years, it changes either to Indiana or to another location. When I went in 2023, it was in San Antonio, which was a great experience because especially when you're in the Grand Hall where all of the delegates are sitting, and I was sitting next to the delegation from Nigeria, and over there was the delegation from the Middle East, and over here was the first Sigma chapter from Illinois. So definitely a really great experience. So we do have the biennium in November. We will need to discuss more of this at our first meeting because we already have delegated that Michelle and myself will be participating. It's a matter of how are we going to send people? So we're going to need to make that a priority when we hold our first meeting. Again, continuing with our values and our mission, the charitable events that we do have really been given visibility to Sigma. We've also been able to, help the community. So I would like to consider a charity walk again. The blood drive and the bone marrow drives, I would definitely like to continue those. I think thanks to Dr. Cruz, we've built a good relationship with the National Marrow Donor Program. And so I think, in the service of, especially as nurses, it's very helpful that we participate in things like the blood drive and bone marrow. And then I'd like to also, again, partner to do the winter coat drive as our charitable event. Also on our strategic plan, I'd like to continue doing the yearly elections so that we can ensure that the board, everyone has an opportunity to serve in a role that they might be interested in. Some of us are bound by 2 years, others are not. We need to look at staggering so that all roles are filled at all times. The other thing is I'd like to see is increase awareness and visibility for our nurse leader applications. I think this is an opportunity that we really haven't, there's an opportunity for us to increase our nurse leaders. As Daria had mentioned, I think reaching out to our graduates that are NPs and educators and things like that from around the area, I think that would really be a great opportunity for us to not only increase our membership, but it's also membership that we know is going to renew year over year. Certainly not going to generate a lot of revenue, but I think as much that we can consistently rely on for revenue is really going to be important because this, as Daria said, is a biennium year. It's not cheap to send someone out there. Mine was about $2,500 by the time airfare and lodging and all of that. However, after attending, realized I didn't need to be there for the entire time. So we'll have ways to save some money on biennium, I think, by not having to go for the full event. And then definitely we need to brainstorm fundraising efforts. We really do need to increase our revenue because we don't want to be cutting it short. So I think in the open forum and or at our first meeting in our new roles, I think that some fundraising ideas need to be brought to the table. And that's all that I have really right now. Again, this is a living document. I'm open to suggestions. I certainly want everyone's input because no idea is a bad idea. So with that, I just again would like to say thank you to our outgoing board members and welcome to our incoming board members. I am extremely proud and honored to be serving as your president, and I really look forward to working with everyone over the next 2 years. Thanks. And now we have our open forum. So if there's anything that anyone would like to discuss